Your life is over, your dreams are meaningless, everything you expected from your future will not exist, and you aren't creative enough to imagine what will replace it. You laugh to yourselves, he is joking, maybe this is a science fiction script coming up. No, it is science fact. Avid viewers may remember 2 to 3 months ago, we did a table read for my burgeoning series, Heavenly Mother Records, about a rock group getting signed up for a Belgian world tour. It was funny and took me 15 minutes to think of and a further 20 minutes to write. But what if I couldn't be bothered? Well, that is what happened. I couldn't be bothered, so I got a computer to write these scripts for me. It took 4 minutes. With the 31 minutes saved, I had some cake. What does all this mean? The end of human creativity? Discuss. Right. So, I'll repeat that in a more friendly way. I wrote a script for something called Heavenly Mother Records. It was really good and very well received. Ha 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 ha, people said. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll revisit that, because I wasn't planning to like really make that, but it was one of those that's even better than you thought it would be. So you thought, oh, do you know what? That's got some legs, some real legs. And I said, well, yes, okay, I will write some more. But then I was like, could someone do it for me? Yes. Nowadays, AI can do it for you. You type in a thing and you say, I would like a script about a record company and a band doing this. And they're having dialogue about that. And it goes... Now, as a writer, you would say, should I be worried? Yeah?
Yeah.
Go on.
Naturally.
Should I be worried?
Should I be worried?
Should you be worried?
worried?
Yeah. No. Because I'm very good. But if I were a bad writer, yes. Because, as we will demonstrate, AI is now, today, and it's changing all the time, is the equivalent of a bad writer, but not a really bad writer, just a quite bad writer. So if you're really bad, you're dead. Not actually, but I mean, you might end up that way. You will end up that way. If you're just bad, then you're already beaten. Quite bad. If you're average, in 2 months, it will have sorted that out. It will be writing averagely in 2 months. People do not understand the implications. You will not be needed. You will not be needed. So everything that you planned, where you said, oh, I'm going to do this, you're not going to do it now, because it will all have already been done. You have nothing that you can say that is of any interest. I'm talking about really, really smart people, not just people trying to write things, but you're the smartest guy or girl, because they have girls too, at university, and you go, I've got a theory about this. It'll be like, oh no, we've passed that. Oh no, we've worked that out already. In the time it's taken you to start writing the formula on the whiteboard, we've done it. And we've gone beyond it.
Yeah.
It's very exciting, isn't it?
Assumedly someone has to put the input in first, so you still need some kind of... You hit the nail on the head. Because that's the only thing that people will have any control over. And eventually, even that. It has, at this point, no imagination. So it's just like this. If you imagine this brilliant brain that can't think of anything until it's told to think of something. So it's effectively asleep without dreams. And then you say to it, think of this. Now, the more interesting thing that you say, the more interesting the response. Right.
If you have nothing interesting to say, then it won't really come out with anything that interesting itself. That is the only creativity that you've got left. If a person doesn't have imagination, some people don't, I've met them. Have you met any?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Not. I don't want to be rude because some of you are out there. Not nice people though, usually. Well, not nice to spend time with.
No.
I mean, they might be like polite. They have the imagination of please and thank you. Yeah. Some of them, not all of them. Those people, they don't exist anymore. They do exist, but they don't really matter. They don't matter much now. They really don't matter. Very soon. This is happening faster than you could imagine. How? Okay, I won't say that. How fast do you think this is happening?
Very fast.
Yeah.
Do you want this? Like
Yeah,
kilometers per hour?
Yeah.
70.
70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I'm guessing if it's like data, then it's probably like in the thousands of miles an hour.
I think it's just like slightly slower than the speed of sound.
Okay. Well, I'll say this, it's got nothing to do with speed, but it is, in terms of dates, like it didn't exist 2 months ago. Now it does exist, and in 2 months' time, it will exist even better. So that's more than you imagined. Because if you were 70 miles an hour, you'd be sticking to the speed limit, but in 2 months, I don't know, 2 months on good roads, you could probably get to Australia. Okay. What you are about to see performed is 3 versions of the same script idea. They are entirely written by a computer in seconds. I provided basic prompts, important prompts. It is not a good script, but it gets better. And if you are a bad writer, you're basically finished, is what this means. We've said that. So, my first input, this is the first thing I said to it. Input number 1. Write 3 minutes of comedy dialogue about a rock group meeting their record label boss at Heavenly Mother Records to talk about how their Belgian tour went. It didn't go well. So I'm telling it, this is the situation we're in, and then I'm adding at the end, hey, we don't want a happy ending here necessarily. Okay, so we have 4 parts. Bassist and drummer are very brief. Most of the chat is between the record label boss and the lead singer. Who would like to be record label boss? Who would like to be the lead singer? Cover those off because that's like 75% of it.
I'll be a boss.
Who's a boss? I'm going to be a boss.
I'll be a boss.
Singer?
Singer. I'll drum.
Cool.
You're the bassist.
Bassist.
Okay. So it starts with the record label boss. This is input number 1 and go.
So how was the Belgian tour?
Oh, it was interesting.
Interesting how?
Well, we played at this tiny little club in Brussels and the sound system was so bad that no one could hear us.
That's not good.
And then in Antwerp, the promoter completely screwed us over and didn't pay us a single cent.
That's outrageous.
And then in Ghent, the entire city was flooded, so no one could even get to the venue.
Well, I guess that explains why your tour reports are a little light on the details.
Yeah, it was definitely a disaster.
Well, I hope you at least had some fun.
Oh, we did. We discovered the joys of Belgian waffles and beer.
At least something good came out of it. Just try to have a little bit more success on your next tour, okay?
Will do. Thanks for understanding, boss.
No problem. Now let's get back to work and make some hit records.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, guys, let's get back to the practice studio and start working on those hits.
Do we have to? Can't we just eat more waffles and drink more beer?
Maybe later. First, let's make some music.
Interesting that the lead singer is like the boss of the group. Sometimes happens, but it's difficult that. It's a difficult situation because the Police, Sting,
Yeah.
right? Sting and the drummer didn't get on very well. What's his name? The other guy, Andy.
The drummer.
No, that's Stuart Copeland. But it's true, and there's no way Sting could have ordered them around. That's why he went solo. He was, I'm fed up with these guys, more fed up with they actually got on fine. But
It's usually the lead singer that goes solo. You don't usually get a lot of other band members branching off.
No, not drummer. He just goes and drums with someone else, or just gets angry. So, yeah, that's an interesting thing. So that's a decision it's taken. I did not say, oh, and the lead singer is kind of in charge and the other band members don't do anything. So, number one, it's decided, lead singer's more vocal, very good. And so it's decided that, the lead singer does most of the talking in most interviews, so the lead singer does most of the talking here. That's the decision it's taken. They've decided that they're going to, we said it's a Belgian tour, so we mentioned 3 different cities in Belgium. It's chosen those 3. It said, right, everybody's got to talk about a different problem in a different city. Fine. The attitude of the record label boss is really kind of a friendly sort of, he's quite motivational. He's not sort of a bit of a dickhead, as you expect, kind of.
He rolls with the punches. It's like, oh, that's not great.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, they've got a really quite a nice relationship, and everybody's like this. So I said, well, that's fine. It's a bit basic, but this is from nothing. This is from nothing. Computer wrote that. So input number 2 from me, make it funnier. So I'm asking this thing to make it funnier. How does it interpret that? Is it like I wasn't funny enough? What is funny? I'm going to think about what funny is and try to deliver it. So, second go, make it funnier. Same parts, because it probably actually helps.
So how was the Belgian tour?
Oh, it was memorable.
Memorable how?
Well, we played at this tiny little club in Brussels and the sound system was so bad, we sounded like a dying cat.
That's not good.
Oh, and then in Antwerp, the promoter completely screwed us over and didn't pay us a single cent.
That's outrageous.
And then in Ghent, the entire city was flooded and we had to play our show on a tiny raft in the middle of the city square.
Well, I guess that explains why your tour reports were a little light on the details.
Yeah, it was definitely a disaster.
Well, I hope you at least had some fun.
Oh, we did. We discovered the joys of Belgian waffles, beer and swimming through flooded streets.
At least something good came out of it. Just try to have a little more success on your next tour, okay?
Will do. Thanks for understanding, boss.
No problem. Now let's get back to work and make some hit records.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, guys, let's get back to the practice studio and start working on those hits.
Do we have to? Can't we just eat more waffles and drink more beer while floating down the river in our raft?
Maybe later. First, let's make some music.
Right. So, make it funnier, and it made it
On a raft.
It made it funnier, if we think it did, by adding, we sounded like a dying cat. That was not in the first one. So it was like the sound system was really bad in the first one. And it left it there. But the sound system was so bad, we sounded like a dying cat. And then Ghent was flooded in the first one. But in the second one, it was so flooded that they had to play their show on a tiny raft in the middle of the city square. Let me tell you, that is very unsafe. Unless they're playing acoustically, somebody is going to die.
Right.
Yeah? You cannot play on open water, electric guitars, and I'd be all right. As long as I wasn't mic'd up. I probably need to be mic'd up though, outdoors. So, and I don't know the range at which electrocution stops.
Yeah.
Because if I put like a live wire into the ocean, I don't like kill somebody around the world, do I? So I'm not really sure what the distance is.
It's like do voltage.
Yeah, like the resistance. There must be some form of resistance in the water that eventually, like if I put a live wire into a swimming pool, an average sized swimming pool, I'd kill everybody.
Yeah.
If I put a live wire into an Olympic sized swimming pool in the corner, and someone was at the far corner, would they die?
You might get some raised hairs.
Probably.
It feels something, but it might not be like a lethal. I don't know what the distance is, but I'm telling you, if you are ever going to do an electric concert, do not do it on a raft, on open water.
Do you think that's like the AI's interpretation of how to make it funnier, and that's like foreshadowing, like, oh, kill the humans?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that is interesting.
Maybe it's
That's
coming up
really-
with ways of, like taking people out kind of piecemeal.
Yeah.
So it's just going, oh yeah, you could try this thing that will kill you. And it deals with kind of 5 people that way.
Yeah.
And if it comes up with enough different ideas of, like, people just typing stuff in, what if I do this? Oh, well, if you did it like that. And then they like die from it. So it's not coming up with one particular thing to kill everybody in one go. It's coming up with millions of different things
Little
to kill
pellets of human poison.
to kill a few people at a time.
Sort of
and just-
subtle serial killer.
Could be, but it wasn't a recommendation. I mean, it was just,
Nice.
this is funnier for the scene. So this is what it considers to be funnier.
I like that it considered the word memorable to be funnier than interesting. Like in the first script, it's, it was interesting. Interesting how? The second one, make it funnier. It was memorable.
Right, that's very, very subtle.
Yeah.
Now, why is memorable better than interesting?
It's a funnier word, maybe?
Memorable.
Not obviously, but it's not perfect. It doesn't necessarily cover everything. With
It's
that,
a more
is it?
positive word.
Memorable.
Maybe he thought positive was funnier.
It's
Like through adversity. Like, oh yeah, the city was flooded, but they still played. They
Right.
went through it all like a comedy.
it's gone down the slapstick angle in a lot of ways. I mean, it's kind of visually silly. If you shot this, aside from the danger, if you shot this, you'd go, oh yeah, that would be funnier, I suppose. You could shoot it in a way where, if they're on a raft, and you could imagine that being funnier.
Right.
But that was just, that was not a very helpful input from me. Make it funnier, not make it how to make it funny. I didn't help it at all. I just said that isn't funny. Now in the first input, I never said to them, this is a comedy. Oh, I did. Write 3 minutes of comedy dialogue. I did say that. So I said make and just make it funnier. So it thought it was being funny. I shot it down, and this is like a question of, does AI have an ego? Because if some writers I know, if I said, could you write me 3 minutes of comedy about this, and they wrote me something, and my reply, they send it to me, and my reply, no, like hello, no kind regards, just make it funnier. Depends on the relationship I have with them. But most people would not like it. They would not like that. They would either be fearful that I'm really, really unimpressed with the first one, which I may not have been unimpressed with it. I just thought it could be funnier. Not help them at all. Just make it funnier. They could take umbrage easily.
I wonder what results you'd get if you were overly polite to it.
Please.
Thank you very much. Would you mind doing this again in a funnier way?
Would it be funnier? Would there be no attempt at finding ways to kill people? Input number 3. This is what I said, change the ending so the record label boss announces a new tour in rainy Scotland. So I've said, okay, keep what we've got, but the ending to the previous ones has a certain kind of, you can't really go anywhere. You have to go somewhere completely different and come back to it, because it's like, let's go and make some hit records. Okay, guys, sort of like the end of a sort of 1960s cartoon about a rock band, and that's the end of the thing. So you can't really go anywhere with it. So I said, okay, this isn't the end. I wanted 3 minutes of comedy script within like a whole show and a whole series, not like this is our entire show, this 3 minutes. So that's what I was testing there, and this is what it did.
So, how was the Belgian tour?
Oh, it was memorable.
Memorable how?
Well, we played at this tiny little club in Brussels, and the sound system was so bad, we sounded like a dying cat.
That's not good.
And then in Antwerp, the promoter completely screwed us over and didn't pay us a single cent.
That's outrageous.
And then in Ghent, the entire city was flooded, and we had to play our own show on a tiny raft in the middle of the city square.
Well, I guess that explains why your tour reports were a little light on the details.
Yeah, it was definitely a disaster.
Well, I hope you at least had some fun.
Oh, we did. We discovered the joys of Belgian beer, waffles, and swimming through flooded streets.
At least something good came out of it. Just try and have a little more success on your next tour, okay?
Will do. Thanks for understanding, boss.
No problem. In fact, I have good news for you. We've secured a new tour for you in Scotland.
Scotland? That's great news.
Yes, but there's one catch. It's going to be raining the entire time.
Great. Just what we need. More water.
At least we'll be prepared this time with our trusty raft.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to embrace the rain and make the most of it.
That's the spirit. Now let's get back to work and make some hit records.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, guys, let's get back to the practice studio and start working on those hits. We've got a rainy tour in Scotland to prepare for.
Right. So, rainy Scotland. Again, it had this sort of a slightly fine lending that you can't really stay with them, which is a bit unhelpful. But we've moved on. We've talked about Scotland and we've tied in the wetness. Now, remember, that was partly down to me because I said that Scotland was rainy. Now, I never said that Belgium was rainy. I said that the Belgian tour didn't go well. And the way that it didn't go well, or one of the ways it didn't go well, was the water. It came up with that. And then I've added to that by saying, oh, Scotland's rainy as well, so let's go to Scotland. And it's worked that out. It's joined the two things together. I didn't ask it to join them together, but it did it.
It's quite satisfying, really.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you've got a form of collaboration there, where it's had an idea all of its own, and I've augmented the idea, and it's noticed what I've done. It said, he's adding to my idea. I need to tie these ideas together. Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bit above things. Now again, this notional person who I write to and just go, make it funnier, right? Now, there's a lot of people who wouldn't pick that up. If I said, could you do it about a tour in rainy Scotland? And I said nothing more, would they go, oh yeah, well it's wet in Belgium and he mentioned Scotland being rainy, so yeah, we can tie that together and we'll do a line about that. Not necessarily. You know, you are requiring people to pay attention, and that's something that they struggle with. So that there is just an example of what can be done. And really quite simple. Now, one of the things that I found with it is that so far, and this is extremely early days, you would say to it, could you write some dialogue about this particular thing? And it would do a really quite generic dialogue. So if you would say, could you make like a comic book scene between a superhero and a villain? And what it would write would be perfectly fine, okay, in a kind of slightly 60s Batman, kind of campy, you'll never beat me, I'm all of that kind of thing. So understood what I wanted. But if I wanted them to say, could you be a bit more serious, or could you not, not make it like that, or could it be more sinister, or it would struggle because it couldn't get out of the genre that I put it in the first place. So it would kind of go, don't know, just maybe make things a bit more descriptive, but it wouldn't necessarily go, oh no, I see what you mean, I'm going to completely scratch that and I'm going to do a really kind of serious noir version. Wouldn't do it. So, that is really fascinating. Now, one of the problems with YouTube, it's not necessarily a problem, but one of the things with YouTube is that I don't know when people are watching these videos. I know when I'm putting them out, but I don't know when they're being watched. So you could be watching this the day it came out, at some point in January 2023. You could be watching this in 20 years. I don't know when YouTube ends. I don't know when the domain expires. So on that basis, you could be looking back at this and going, ha ha ha, these people had no idea what was coming around the bend. What I'm saying, me right now, from the situation I'm in, is that ha ha ha, these people have no idea what's coming around the bend. That's what I'm saying it now about people now. Can't say it about you in the future because I don't know, do I? It would be unfair to expect that of me. I've got high expectations, but even that is unfair, isn't it? So, really fascinating. I think I'm going to do a lot more. You should remember, if you're an avid watcher, that we have our series Obsolete, and this is right in that wheelhouse. This is about the obsolescence of the human race and what it means. And if you ever saw that H.G. Wells, The Time Machine, where he goes thousands of years into the future and all the books have turned to dust because people are just frolicking by the riverbanks. You know, we're heading in that direction. We're heading in the direction of frolicking. And is that enough for you? Probably is. Probably is. All right, frolic away. Now, that was really interesting. And if you don't like interesting things, I don't know why you're still here. If you're still here, then you did like it, so like it. Subscribe to the channel. I don't care. Number doesn't really mean anything because they don't even show it to half the people that are apparently subscribed. Half the people, did I say half the people? 80%. 80% they never show it to. So I don't know what the point of subscribing is. You can do it. I'm not going to stop you. I couldn't stop you. After I publish this, there's nothing I can do. I can delete your comments if they're really rude, which I wouldn't even do that. I don't think I'll read them. I don't think I'll read them. So write your rude comments, bastards. See you later.